Chapter 1: The Rise of Remote Work and the Loneliness Epidemic. The shift toward remote work is like having a fast-moving train, and it's a ride that's getting more passengers every day. The freedom to work from anywhere is a game changer. No more long commutes, no more crowded subway cars or bumper-to-bumper traffic. Imagine rolling out of bed and being at the office in a matter of seconds. It sounds ideal, doesn't it? But like many things that seem too good to be true, there's a hidden cost. The price many are paying is loneliness, a feeling of isolation that can weigh heavy on the mind and heart. So why is this happening? Let's start with why remote work has taken off like wildfire. First, technology has made it possible. High-speed internet, cloud storage, and real-time communication tools mean people can work from anywhere with an internet connection. Second, companies are seeing the benefits. They save money on office space, utilities, and other expenses. And if people can work from home, they can also work from another city or even another country. That means businesses can hire the best talent, no matter where they are. Now, flip the coin, and let's look at the drawbacks. Working from home often means working alone. Yes, there are video calls, group chats, and all kinds of ways to stay connected. But let's be honest. A smiley emoji can't replace a real smile, and a thumbs up icon can't replace a pat on the back. Communication might be easier than ever, but real, meaningful connections are getting lost in the shuffle. The lonely feeling isn't just about missing small talk over coffee or lunch breaks with colleagues. It runs deeper. When people spend long hours alone, they start to feel disconnected. Not just from their team or their job, but sometimes even from themselves. The workday becomes a string of tasks to be completed rather than a collaborative effort. And without the human interaction that comes from being in the same place at the same time, work can become just another box to tick off, rather than something fulfilling. For companies, this is a red flag. Lonely employees aren't just unhappy, they're also less productive. They can lose the sense of purpose that comes from being part of a team, and once that's gone, performance can slip. Then it's a downward spiral. Lower performance can lead to increased stress, which can make the feelings of loneliness even worse. Another concern is how loneliness impacts creativity and problem solving. When people are physically together, ideas flow more freely. Think about those moments when an offhand comment from a colleague sparks a light bulb moment. That's the magic of collaboration, and it's a lot harder to come by when everyone is working from separate locations. So, what's the takeaway? Remote work is here to stay, and it has a lot of advantages. But it's essential to be aware of its drawbacks, too. Companies that turn a blind eye to the loneliness problem are setting themselves up for trouble. Disengaged, unhappy employees are a liability, not an asset. On the flip side, companies that actively work to combat loneliness will come out ahead. The stakes are high. The world is changing, and it's up to both companies and their employees to adapt. Ignoring the problem won't make it go away, but tackling it head-on could make all the difference. It's not just about keeping employees happy, it's about keeping them engaged, productive, and loyal. And in today's competitive business landscape, that's not something to take lightly. In the coming chapters, the focus will be on how to tackle this growing issue of loneliness in the world of remote work. After all, problems can't be solved unless they're first identified and understood. It's time to move from awareness to action. The future of work depends on it. Chapter 2: The Psychological Effects of Remote Work Loneliness. Diving deeper into the world of remote work brings a realization that there's more than just convenience and freedom. One of the significant downsides is the negative impact on mental health and job performance, particularly when feelings of loneliness start to creep in. And it's not just a passing mood. It's a problem that digs deep, affecting both the mind and the body. First, consider what loneliness does to mental well-being. It's easy to dismiss loneliness as a minor issue, but it can be as harmful as smoking or obesity when it comes to overall health. While it might not leave physical scars, it does affect the brain in ways that can't be ignored. For example, studies have shown that feeling lonely can lead to increased stress levels. The body goes into a sort of fight or flight mode, producing stress hormones like cortisol. Over time, elevated stress levels can lead to more severe health problems like heart disease, diabetes, and even a weaker immune system. This stress also has immediate implications for work performance. When the body is in a heightened state of alert, it's harder to focus on tasks that require attention to detail or creative thinking. Stress can cause the mind to become distracted, prone to making mistakes, and less efficient overall. It becomes a cycle. Poor performance leads to more stress, which leads to even worse performance. Now, let's talk about motivation. Feeling disconnected from colleagues or from the job itself can severely dampen enthusiasm for work. There's no team to cheer on successes or offer encouragement during setbacks. That sense of shared purpose, which drives everyone to do their best, fades away. It's just human nature to crave social interaction and the positive feedback it provides. When that's missing, there's a void that's hard to fill, leading to low morale and decreased motivation. A lack of motivation isn't just a personal problem, it's a business problem too. When people are not motivated, productivity takes a nosedive, projects take longer to complete, and the quality of work can suffer. For companies, this is a significant issue. A decline in productivity affects the bottom line, making it harder to compete in an increasingly crowded marketplace. Another issue that goes hand in hand with loneliness is a lack of accountability. In a traditional office, the mere presence of others can drive people to perform better. There's a social contract of sorts. Everyone is watching, so it's crucial to put in the effort. But when working remotely, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that no one will notice a drop in performance. That lack of oversight can be incredibly detrimental, leading to missed deadlines, sloppy work, and ultimately, job loss. But perhaps the most concerning impact of loneliness is its potential to cause depression and anxiety. Feeling isolated can lead to a sense of hopelessness, further exacerbating mental health issues. It's a downward spiral that's tough to break. And mental health problems don't just affect work performance, they impact every aspect of life, from relationships to physical health. So where does this leave us? Clearly, the problem of loneliness in remote work isn't something to be ignored or brushed under the rug. It's a pressing issue that affects not just individual employees, but also the companies they work for. But it's also a solvable problem. Recognizing the issue is the first step. The next is taking proactive measures to combat it. The good news is that there's plenty that can be done to mitigate the psychological impacts of remote work loneliness. The solutions range from structural changes in the way work is organized to individual self-care strategies. By understanding the root of the problem and its various manifestations, it's possible to create a more sustainable, healthy remote work environment for everyone involved. In the coming chapters, strategies and actionable advice will be laid out, designed to tackle this issue head-on. After all, a problem well understood is a problem half solved. And with the right tools and mindset, it's entirely possible to enjoy the benefits of remote work without the detrimental impact on mental health and job performance. Chapter 3. The Business Cost of Lonely Employees. Let's switch gears a little and zoom out to see the bigger picture. While the previous chapters focused on how loneliness affects individuals, this chapter delves into how those lonely employees can actually cost businesses in very real, tangible ways. Understanding these costs is crucial for anyone interested in building a robust, profitable, and sustainable business model that leverages remote work. First on the list is productivity. It's an often repeated mantra in the business world that time is money. Well, if that's the case, loneliness is a costly drain on both. As discussed in the previous chapter, lonely employees often find it hard to focus. Tasks take longer to complete, mistakes are more common, and the end result is a workforce that gets less done in more time. That's the opposite of productivity, and it's a quick way to put the business at a competitive disadvantage. Next up is engagement. Employee engagement doesn't just mean having a workforce that's interested in their job. It goes deeper than that. Engaged employees care about their company's mission and are willing to go the extra mile to help achieve it. They are the sort of people who bring energy and creativity to their roles, and they often become the backbone of successful teams. Now, consider what happens when employees feel lonely and disconnected. The passion and energy that drive engagement start to fade, replaced by a sense of isolation and apathy. An unengaged workforce is less innovative, less committed, and ultimately, less valuable to the company. The ripple effects of low engagement can also affect customer service. Employees who are not engaged are less likely to put in the extra effort required to satisfy a customer or solve a problem creatively. Remember, your employees are often the face of the company to the outside world. If they're not engaged, that's going to come across in their interactions with customers, partners, and anyone else who comes into contact with the business. Let's also talk about company culture, which is more than just a buzzword. It's the DNA of a business. It defines how employees interact, how decisions get made, and what values the company stands for. A positive, inclusive culture can be a significant asset. But what happens when loneliness sets in? People start to feel disconnected, not just from each other, but from the company's broader mission and values. In such an environment, the culture can quickly turn toxic. People become more focused on their own tasks and responsibilities, and the sense of being part of a greater whole gets lost. A toxic culture isn't just unpleasant, it's also bad for business. It can lead to higher employee turnover, more conflicts, and a tarnished company reputation. And let's not forget turnover. Recruiting new talent isn't just time-consuming, it's also expensive. When employees leave due to a poor work environment, the costs can add up fast. Think about it. There are recruitment costs, training costs, and the lost productivity as new hires get up to speed. Plus, every time someone leaves, they take a piece of institutional knowledge with them, which can be hard to replace. High turnover rates can make it difficult to build a stable, experienced team, which is often key to long-term success. But the costs of loneliness aren't just measured in lost productivity or high turnover. There's also the risk of legal costs and damage to the company's reputation. Employee dissatisfaction can manifest in various ways, including a higher incidence of workplace disputes, harassment cases, and other legal headaches. While these might seem like extreme outcomes, they are more likely in environments where employees feel disconnected and unsupported. In a world where company reputations can be made or broken in the court of public opinion, this is a risk that businesses can ill afford. Now that the cost of lonely employees is clear, it's evident that this is an issue that businesses can't afford to ignore. Addressing loneliness isn't just about making employees happier or more comfortable. It's about securing the long-term viability and success of the company. Fortunately, tackling this issue doesn't have to be a shot in the dark. The upcoming chapters will provide actionable solutions and proven strategies to help businesses build a more connected, engaged, and productive remote workforce. Remember, awareness is the first step towards meaningful action, and the time to act is now. Chapter 4. The role of company culture in remote work. So far, there's been a lot of talk about the problems linked to loneliness in remote work. The consequences are dire, both for individuals and businesses. But it's not all doom and gloom. There are real, practical ways to counteract these issues, and one of the most effective is by cultivating a strong company culture. Company culture isn't just about having a cool office or fun team-building events. At its core, it's about creating a work environment that people want to be part of. That sense of belonging and community can go a long way towards combating the loneliness that often comes with remote work. Let's break down how a strong culture can do just that. First off, consider the impact of communication. In a strong company culture, open and transparent communication is the norm. Employees feel comfortable sharing their ideas, asking questions, and even raising concerns. That kind of openness can make people feel valued and heard, which is especially important when they're working alone from home. It also creates more opportunities for social interaction, even if it's just over email or a video call. When people feel like they can talk openly, they're less likely to feel isolated. Then there's the role of shared values. When everyone in a company is on the same page about what's important, it creates a sense of unity that's hard to beat. Whether it's a focus on innovation, customer service, or social responsibility, shared values gives employees a common goal to rally around. This can be incredibly empowering, especially for remote workers who might otherwise feel disconnected from the broader objectives of the company. Working toward a shared goal can provide a sense of purpose that cuts through feelings of isolation, making the daily grind feel much more meaningful. Strong company culture also involves some level of mentorship or guidance. For remote workers, this kind of support system is invaluable. When someone is there to offer advice, answer questions, or even just chat about how things are going, it can break up the monotony of working alone. Mentorship can provide not only professional growth but also personal connection. These relationships foster a sense of belonging that can make all the difference in the world when combating loneliness. Flexibility is another cornerstone of strong company culture, and it's one that has particular relevance for remote work. When employees have the freedom to set their own hours, take breaks when they need to, or even work from different locations, it shows that they are trusted and valued. This not only boosts morale, but can also ease some of the social pressures that come with remote work. For example, if someone knows they can rearrange their schedule to make time for social activities, they're less likely to feel trapped in a cycle of work and isolation. Now, how about team collaboration? In a traditional office, teamwork happens naturally. People chat in the break room, brainstorm in meetings, and collaborate on projects. But in a remote setting, teamwork doesn't just happen. It has to be deliberately fostered. A strong company culture will prioritize this kind of collaboration, using technology to bridge the gap between remote employees. Whether it's through team chats, video meetings, or collaborative software, the goal is to keep everyone involved and connected. When people are actively working together, even from a distance, it creates a sense of community that can be incredibly potent against feelings of loneliness. But it's not all about work, work, work. Any strong company culture will also make room for fun and relaxation. Virtual coffee breaks, online games, or even just casual conversations can bring a much-needed dose of humanity into the remote work experience. Remember, people are social creatures. Even small interactions like these can build a sense of camaraderie and belonging that makes the loneliness much easier to bear. And finally, consider the impact of recognition. Everyone likes to feel appreciated, and remote workers are no exception. A strong company culture will have mechanisms in place to recognize and celebrate achievements, no matter how small. This can be as simple as a shout-out in a team meeting, or as elaborate as a virtual award ceremony. The point is to make sure people feel seen and valued, which can be a powerful antidote to the isolation of remote work. In sum, a strong company culture isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a must-have, especially for businesses that rely on remote workers. From open communication and shared values to mentorship, flexibility, collaboration, fun, and recognition, there are many ways that culture can combat loneliness. Each of these elements contributes to creating an environment where people feel connected and engaged, no matter where they're working from. So, for those who want to get the most out of remote work without falling into the loneliness trap, investing in company culture isn't just a good idea, it's essential. Chapter 5. Mindful Communication in a Remote World. Picture a traditional office space. Colleagues chatting at water coolers, spontaneous meetings in the hallway, and a quick drop-in at a coworker's desk to clarify something. Now, imagine a remote work environment. The water cooler is gone, the hallways are empty, and quick, casual conversations are not that simple anymore. The change is not just physical, it affects the very core of how people communicate at work. Given these shifts, mastering the art of mindful communication becomes crucial to combating loneliness and ensuring everyone feels connected, even from miles away. Mindful communication starts with paying close attention to the cues that are often lost when face-to-face interactions go away. Tone, nuance, and intent can get easily lost in a text chat or email. A simple solution? Use video calls for important discussions. Video adds back some of the nonverbal cues that help people understand each other better. With video, there's a better chance of catching the subtle facial expressions or tones that provide context. It's a step closer to recreating the dynamics of an in-person conversation. While video is powerful, it's not always practical. Sometimes text-based communication, like chat or email, is more convenient. Here, mindfulness means rereading messages before sending them and considering how they might be interpreted. It also means being extra clear and explicit, leaving no room for misunderstandings. If there's important news or a complex issue to address, maybe a simple FYI in a group chat isn't enough. Perhaps it calls for a more detailed message or even a series of discussions to make sure everyone's on the same page. Timeliness is another cornerstone of mindful communication. In an office, it's easy to get immediate feedback. Someone nods, smiles, or verbally agrees with what's being said. In remote settings, delays in response can create uncertainty and even anxiety. Therefore, make it a point to acknowledge messages and emails within a reasonable time frame. Even a simple "got it" or "we'll get back to you soon" can go a long way in making the other person feel heard and valued. But communication isn't just about talking, it's also about listening. Active listening is even more crucial in a remote environment. It's not just about waiting for the other person to stop talking so a point can be made. It's about truly hearing what's being said, asking clarifying questions if needed, and providing thoughtful responses. Active listening makes the other person feel valued and respected, which can be incredibly meaningful when there's physical distance involved. And don't underestimate the power of the occasional small talk. Yes, it may seem trivial, but asking about someone's weekend or how their day is going makes a difference. It shows care for them as individuals, not just as cogs in the work machine. Even in a professional setting, these human touches make the daily grind more tolerable and less lonely. Now, what about meetings? In a remote setting, they can quickly become a source of dread, often filled with awkward silences or people talking over each other. One way to make them more engaging is to have a clear agenda sent out before the meeting. This allows everyone to prepare and know what to expect. During the meeting, encourage participation by asking open-ended questions or asking for feedback. Avoid dominating the conversation. Make it a point to invite quieter team members to share their thoughts. After the meeting, a quick recap can reinforce key points and ensure everyone is aligned. However, mindful communication isn't just about work-related conversations. Creating opportunities for informal interactions is also essential. Think virtual coffee breaks or themed get-togethers. These platforms allow for the types of casual conversation that happen naturally in an office setting, but can be missing in remote work. They provide a space for employees to relax, be themselves, and bond over non-work-related topics. This sense of camaraderie can go a long way in combating the loneliness that often accompanies remote work. Last, but certainly not least, celebrate wins and milestones, both big and small. In a physical office, a completed project might be celebrated with high fives or a team lunch. In a remote environment, these achievements can go unnoticed. Set aside time to celebrate these moments, whether it's a shout-out in a team meeting or a special acknowledgement in a company newsletter. Recognizing and celebrating achievements makes everyone feel more connected and valued. Mindful communication isn't just a skill, it's a necessity in the world of remote work. It takes intentional effort to break through the barriers of physical distance and digital screens. But with a commitment to clarity, timeliness, active listening, and real human connection, it's entirely possible to create a remote work environment where people feel just as engaged, valued, and connected as they would in a traditional office. In doing so, not only is the gap of physical distance bridged, but the gap in hearts and minds is closed as well. Chapter 6. Scheduled social time, virtual coffee breaks, and more. Picture a time when everyone looked forward to the office holiday party, the weekly lunch outings, or even the simple joys of a shared coffee break. These moments of social connection were the glue that held teams together, creating bonds beyond the scope of work tasks and projects. In the shift to remote work, that social glue risks getting weaker and weaker, and the result is often a sense of isolation. But there's good news. By deliberately scheduling social time, even in virtual format, the feeling of unity and engagement can be rekindled. Virtual coffee breaks are a good place to start. Just like grabbing a coffee with a coworker at the local cafe, a scheduled virtual coffee break is an easy, low-pressure way to catch up and unwind. It doesn't have to be a big event. Just 15 to 20 minutes set aside on a video call for relaxed conversation can make all the difference. People can talk about their plans for the weekend, share updates about their families, or even discuss the latest movie they've watched. The purpose is not to talk shop, but to maintain the human connections that make work more enjoyable and fulfilling. While coffee breaks are great, it's good to shake things up with variety. Virtual lunches or dinners can serve the same purpose, but offer a longer time to engage with team members. These can be as simple as everyone eating their own meal in front of the computer while chatting. However, for a special twist, consider having meals delivered to each team member's home from the same restaurant. It makes the experience feel more shared, and it's a great way to support local businesses, too. For those who like to get their blood pumping, a virtual workout session might be just the thing. These can be tailored to fit all fitness levels and interests, from yoga to high-intensity interval training. The added benefit is that exercise releases endorphins, the feel-good hormones, making people feel happier and more connected. It's also a great way to kickstart a day with energy and focus, preparing the mind for the work challenges ahead. But social time isn't just about relaxation and leisure. It can also be an opportunity for skill building and personal development. Think about hosting a virtual book club focused on industry-relevant materials, or even works of fiction that can stimulate insightful discussions. This adds an educational element to social time, making it doubly rewarding. Let's not forget the fun and games. Virtual game sessions can bring a whole lot of laughter and camaraderie. There are tons of online platforms that offer multiplayer games suitable for teams. From trivia to escape rooms, the options are nearly endless. And remember, it's not about winning. It's about having fun and strengthening team bonds. Holiday parties are another milestone that shouldn't be skipped just because everyone's remote. Virtual holiday parties can be a blast if planned well. Consider themed costume contests, virtual Secret Santa exchanges, or online karaoke. The trick is to keep it interactive and inclusive, making sure everyone has a chance to participate and enjoy the festivities. But what about the people who aren't big fans of video calls? There are options for them too. Consider a photo of the day Slack channel, where team members can share pictures from their lives outside of work. It could be a beautiful sunset, a new pet, or a culinary masterpiece cooked up in the kitchen. It's a simple but effective way for team members to share snippets of their lives and get to know each other on a more personal level. And let's address the elephant in the room: time zones. In a global team, not everyone will be awake or available at the same time. The solution? Rotate the timing of these social activities to accommodate as many schedules as possible. Record sessions, when feasible, so that those who couldn't attend can still experience the fun later. But here's the key point. Make it a consistent effort. One-off events are great, but regular, scheduled social time is what really moves the needle in combating loneliness. It creates something to look forward to, breaking up the monotony of solitary work. It's also a signal that the company values its employees as people, not just as work machines. This sense of being valued and included contributes to a positive company culture and high employee engagement. To sum it up, social time shouldn't be considered an optional extra in remote work. It should be an essential part of the work week. Whether it's a quick coffee chat, a virtual workout session, or an online game night, these shared experiences are the modern-day water cooler moments that keep a team connected and engaged. By taking the initiative to schedule and prioritize these activities, the emotional and psychological toll of isolation can be significantly reduced, paving the way for a more cohesive, happier, and ultimately more productive team. Chapter 7. Building Virtual Communities Through Online Platforms. Imagine a bustling office. The buzz of conversation, the laughter ringing out from a nearby cubicle, and the sharing of ideas across desks. Now, transfer that scene into the digital world. It's entirely possible to capture the essence of this physical community through online platforms. In fact, platforms like Slack and Microsoft Teams have become the new offices, hosting professional interactions and casual chats alike. The challenge lies in wielding these tools effectively to nurture a sense of community, even when team members are spread out across different cities, states, or even countries. Let's start with a straightforward yet powerful feature: channels. Slack and Teams both allow users to create specialized channels for different topics. Of course, there should be channels dedicated to projects, departments, and company announcements. But don't stop there. Create channels that foster casual interactions and social connections. How about a Pets of the Company channel, where employees can share pictures of their furry or feathered friends? Or a book club channel, where team members discuss the latest books they've read? The options are limitless. These channels become virtual lounges where team members can congregate, share, and bond. Now, what happens when someone new joins the team? Introductions are crucial. Just as a newcomer would be introduced in an office setting, it's important to give them a warm welcome in the digital workspace. A designated New Members channel can help with this. Invite new hires to introduce themselves and share a few interesting facts or hobbies. This channel serves a dual purpose. It helps new employees integrate and gives existing employees the opportunity to extend a virtual handshake. It's not just about the channels, though. Consider the use of bots to automate repetitive tasks and to add a dash of fun in the workspace. For instance, use a bot to send out a daily icebreaker question, giving team members a prompt to engage with each other. It could be something as simple as, "What's your go-to morning beverage?" or "What's the most exciting thing you've done this year?" Not only do these icebreakers spark conversation, but they also reveal small but meaningful details about team members, strengthening connections. And speaking of automation, why not set up scheduled check-ins? Utilize bots to send out weekly or bi-weekly polls that ask questions about team members' well-being, workload, and overall job satisfaction. These check-ins serve as a pulse check on the team's emotional health and allow for proactive measures to tackle issues before they escalate. Now, let's move into the realm of real-time interactions. Video calls are the closest substitute for in-person meetings, and they are integral for team bonding. Beyond project-related discussions, use video calls for casual hangouts, mentorship sessions, or team-building exercises. Regular video interactions add a layer of intimacy and understanding among team members that text-based communication can't achieve. Another feature worth exploring is the integration of external apps and tools within platforms like Slack and Teams. Whether it's task management tools like Asana or Trello, or brainstorming apps like Miro, integrating these into the digital workspace can streamline processes. It keeps all necessary information and tools in one place, making it easier for the team to stay on the same page. But don't let the convenience of digital communication lull into ignoring one-on-one interactions. Make it a point to have individual conversations with team members. These could be quick catch-ups, project updates, or more formal monthly or quarterly reviews. The purpose is to maintain a direct line of communication with each team member, making it easier to discuss individual concerns and aspirations. And while it may sound trivial, don't underestimate the power of emojis and GIFs. These small, colorful symbols and animated images add nuance to digital communication, helping to express emotions that text alone might not capture. They make interactions more human, relatable, and enjoyable. In essence, the potential of platforms like Slack and Teams goes far beyond professional correspondence. With the right strategies, these platforms can become virtual communities that offer much more than just a means to get work done. They can become spaces where employees feel heard, valued, and connected, contributing to job satisfaction and overall well-being. By investing time and effort into building these virtual communities, the issue of loneliness that often shadows remote work can be significantly reduced, resulting in a more cohesive, engaged, and productive team. Chapter 8: Virtual Team Building Activities That Work. Team building activities have been a staple in the office environment for years, from trust falls to escape rooms. These activities serve more than just a break from the daily grind. They foster relationships, enhance communication, and boost team morale. So, when the setting changes from a physical office to a remote workspace, why should team building take a back seat? First off, consider the time honored tradition of trivia. Set up a regular trivia event over a video call. Categories can range from industry knowledge to pop culture, or even personal tidbits about team members. For example, who on the team has a pet snake, or who used to be a professional dancer? Trivia is a low cost, low effort way to learn about each other and the industry. It's a win win. Virtual game nights are another excellent option. There's no shortage of online games that cater to groups. From strategy games to problem solving activities, pick one that aligns with the team's interests. Make sure to mix up the teams during each game night to give everyone a chance to interact with different people. These games provide not just entertainment, but also opportunities to learn about each other's strengths and weaknesses in a non-work setting. Move away from the screen with offline challenges. For instance, host a cooking challenge where each team member prepares the same dish and then shares their results in the team chat. Make it more interesting by setting some rules, like using only 5 ingredients or cooking within a certain time frame. These offline activities allow for a break from screen time while still contributing to team cohesion. Don't forget that physical health is crucial for overall well-being, especially when working remotely can mean a lot of time spent sitting. Set up a fitness challenge over a month where team members log daily or weekly workouts. The workouts could range from a quick 20-minute jog to yoga sessions or even dance workouts. Team members can share their progress and motivate each other to keep active. Another avenue to explore is volunteering. While this may seem challenging to coordinate for remote teams, many virtual volunteering opportunities have emerged in recent years. Whether it's online tutoring, assisting with digital marketing for a nonprofit, or virtual companionship for elderly individuals, the options are numerous. Volunteering not only bonds the team but also instills a sense of accomplishment and purpose, fighting off feelings of isolation. While team building activities are crucial for camaraderie, they also offer a platform for skills development. Consider activities that tap into different aspects of work-related skills, but in a fun and relaxed atmosphere. For instance, a pitch it session, where everyone has to sell an absurd product or service, can be a great exercise in persuasion and public speaking. Book clubs are another medium for both personal and professional development. Choose books that are relevant to the industry, career development, or even personal growth. Not only does this encourage the habit of reading, but the ensuing discussions also provide insight into different perspectives. It's not just about the book, but also about understanding how different people interpret the same information, invaluable for enhancing team communication and understanding. A talent show can bring a delightful twist to virtual team building. Team members can showcase any talent, from playing a musical instrument to stand-up comedy or magic tricks. This serves as an avenue for individuals to express their personalities and opens up discussions that go beyond work-related topics. Lastly, consider the simple yet effective walk and talk meetings. Encourage team members to take their phones and earphones and go for a walk while participating in less formal meetings or brainstorming sessions. The change in scenery can spark new ideas, and the act of walking side by side, even virtually, can foster a sense of camaraderie. Remember, the goal is to build a sense of community, a feeling of being a part of something bigger. That's hard to achieve if people feel isolated, sitting alone at their home desks day after day. It's not about any single activity, but the cumulative effect of various shared experiences. These activities not only inject some fun into the workday, but also function as the glue that holds a remote team together, making everyone feel less like islands and more like a connected archipelago in this vast digital sea. Chapter 9. Encouraging Water Cooler Moments Online. The water cooler moment, a spontaneous gathering around that ubiquitous fixture in the office where people would share weekend plans, new recipes, or the latest episode of a popular TV show. These moments often seem trivial, but they serve a critical function in workplace dynamics. They break the ice, humanize coworkers, and sometimes even lead to the birth of great ideas. However, the shift to remote work has rendered the physical water cooler obsolete. So how does one recreate these spontaneous moments in a digital environment? Firstly, don't underestimate the power of chat rooms. Create a variety of channels or groups based on interests rather than work topics. So instead of just having a channel for Project X, have channels like Pet Lovers, Movie Buffs, or Weekend Warriors. These spaces offer team members a place to share pictures, articles, or even memes that align with shared interests. It's not about work. It's about sparking those casual conversations that add a personal touch to professional relationships. Speaking of chats, think about daily check-ins. Just a simple good morning or how's everyone doing can set the tone for the day. It's the digital equivalent of saying hello when you walk into the office. People are more likely to share a snippet of their life in response, which can become the starting point for other conversations. Don't neglect video calls. While the idea of a daily video check-in may sound exhausting, a less formal, shorter video chat can serve as an excellent platform for these casual interactions. Maybe it's a quick 5-minute call during a coffee break or a brief end-of-day recap. The trick is to make it routine but not obligatory, and to keep it short so it doesn't become just another item on an already packed to-do list. But what if the team is spread across different time zones? This is where asynchronous communication comes in handy. Set up a daily or weekly prompt that people can respond to when it suits them. Questions can range from what's your favorite comfort food to what's the most interesting thing you've learned this week. By allowing team members to respond in their own time, everyone gets to participate and learn something new about their colleagues. Consider virtual lunches or coffee breaks where everyone is encouraged to step away from work tasks and engage in conversation. It's as simple as setting a time, sending a virtual meeting invite, and showing up. Just like in an office setting, people bring their lunch or coffee and chat about whatever comes to mind. Sure, it's planned rather than spontaneous, but it serves the same purpose: creating a space for casual interactions. In the same vein, hosting virtual happy hours can add a layer of informality that's often missing in remote work settings. Keep it simple. Maybe just once a month, where team members can join in with their beverage of choice. The conversation doesn't have to be about work. In fact, it shouldn't be. This is the time to kick back, share stories, and unwind. Another novel idea is to implement a random pairing program. At regular intervals, maybe once a week or bi-weekly, employees are randomly paired with each other for a brief catch-up. This facilitates one-on-one interaction, allowing team members to get to know people they might not regularly work with. The conversations can range from work projects to personal hobbies, providing a well-rounded view of each other. Another avenue to explore is communal activities that are not work-related but still add value. For example, group learning sessions can be hosted where a team member teaches something non-work related for 20 to 30 minutes. One could share gardening tips, another could guide a meditation session, and so on. The topics are endless, but the goal is the same: community building. Lastly, remember the importance of celebrating milestones and wins, both big and small. Got a project completed ahead of time? Celebrate it. Someone on the team got engaged? Celebrate it. Even small wins, like a project milestone, can be acknowledged in the group chat, allowing for collective congratulations and perhaps even sparking conversations around similar experiences. In summary, the absence of a physical office doesn't have to mean the end of water cooler moments. A remote setting offers new and creative ways to cultivate these casual interactions that play an essential role in team cohesion. By intentionally setting up spaces for informal chats, activities, and celebrations, one can keep the team engaged, maintain human connections, and create a sense of belonging. All crucial ingredients for fighting the loneliness that often accompanies remote work. Chapter 10. The role of managers in combating loneliness. Being a manager in a remote work environment isn't just about assigning tasks or monitoring deadlines. It's about cultivating a healthy team dynamic that accounts for the unique challenges remote work poses, such as feelings of isolation and loneliness. When team members are geographically separated, they often miss out on the spontaneous interactions that naturally occur in a physical office. As a result, the role of the manager becomes even more critical in identifying and addressing these challenges to create a cohesive and engaged team. The first step in this journey is open and empathetic communication. Managers should make a habit of asking open-ended questions like, What's working well for you right now? Or is there anything you're struggling with at the moment? These questions invite team members to share their feelings and concerns, which may include feelings of loneliness or disconnection. Moreover, scheduling one on one check ins can be invaluable in opening the lines of communication. These meetings shouldn't always be about work, they should also address well being. Being proactive in checking in on team members' mental health isn't just a kind gesture, it's good business sense. Research has shown that loneliness can severely affect job performance, reducing productivity and engagement. That's why taking the time to check in can help identify problems before they escalate. And it's not about prying into personal lives, but rather understanding each individual's work experience so that necessary support or changes can be provided. In a remote setting, visibility can be limited. There's no chance to see who looks disengaged, who's struggling to fit in, or who's going the extra mile but doing so quietly. In this environment, recognition becomes even more crucial. Celebrating wins, no matter how small, can go a long way in making team members feel valued and included. Simple acts of acknowledgement, like praising someone in a group chat for their hard work, can uplift the entire team's spirits. The effectiveness of virtual team building should not be underestimated. While team members might not be physically present in the same location, virtual activities can still foster a sense of togetherness. It's essential for managers to not just participate in these activities, but to actively organize and promote them. Whether it's a virtual escape room, a trivia game, or a cooking challenge, these activities provide an informal setting for team members to interact, thereby reducing feelings of isolation. Also, consider facilitating mentorship programs within the team. When a new team member joins, pairing them with a seasoned team member can help them integrate faster into the team culture. The mentor can offer guidance, answer questions, and most importantly, serve as a friendly face in a sea of unfamiliar ones. Another often overlooked strategy is the effective use of digital communication tools. It might sound counterintuitive, but sometimes the solution to feeling disconnected is to disconnect a bit. Managers should encourage team members to set boundaries and avoid the pitfalls of constant connectivity, which can lead to burnout. Encourage team members to turn off notifications during non-work hours and to take time off to recharge. It's also essential to lead by example. If a manager is always sending emails at midnight or scheduling meetings during lunch breaks, it sets an unhealthy precedent for the team. Managers should model the work-life balance they wish to see in their team members. This not only benefits the manager, but also sends a powerful message to the team that it's okay to take time for oneself. Finally, managers should remember that combating loneliness is an ongoing process. It's not enough to schedule one team building activity or hold one one-on-one meeting and consider the problem solved. Instead, managers need to consistently create opportunities for connection, openly discuss well-being, and always be on the lookout for signs of loneliness or disengagement among their team members. In closing, the role of managers in combating loneliness in a remote work setting cannot be overstated. From fostering open communication and recognizing achievements to organizing team-building activities and setting healthy boundaries, there are multiple strategies that can be implemented. Not only do these actions create a more engaged team, but they also contribute to each individual's emotional well-being. After all, a happy, engaged team is often a productive one, and in the world of remote work, this is an outcome that is well worth the effort. Chapter 11. Implementing a buddy system in remote teams. Starting a new job can be overwhelming. Now, imagine doing that while working from home, where there are no friendly faces in the hallway, no impromptu conversations by the coffee machine, and no familiar rituals of a physical office space to ease the transition. For those finding themselves isolated in a remote work environment, having someone to guide them can make a world of difference. This is where a buddy system comes in handy. The buddy system isn't a new concept. It has been used in various settings like schools and outdoor activities to ensure safety and camaraderie. But in the world of remote work, it serves as more than just a safety net. It's a powerful tool that can help alleviate feelings of loneliness and promote a sense of belonging. It's an ideal way to make the vast and sometimes intimidating realm of remote work feel a little smaller and a lot more personal. At its core, The buddy system involves pairing up employees, typically a newcomer with someone more experienced, to help with onboarding and adaptation to the company culture. But it's not just about the nuts and bolts of daily tasks, it's about offering social and emotional support, providing a space for informal conversations, and helping build relationships that might not organically develop in a remote setting. So, how does one go about setting up a successful buddy system? Well, it starts with choosing the right pairs. Just throwing people together won't do. Take into account personalities, job roles, and even time zones. Conduct surveys or informal interviews to gauge interests, work styles, and expectations. The goal is to create pairs that offer mutual benefits, where both parties have something valuable to offer and gain from the relationship. Once the pairs are established, outline the goals and expectations clearly. This isn't a one-size-fits-all scenario. Some pairs may focus on professional development, while others may gravitate towards social interaction. Having a set of guidelines can help make the process more comfortable and reduce any initial awkwardness. But remember, these guidelines should serve as a starting point, not as rigid rules. Allow room for the relationships to grow and evolve naturally. For this system to work, it can't be a mere afterthought or something that gets attention only when convenient. It requires commitment and active participation from all involved, including management. Schedule regular check-ins to see how the pairs are doing, what challenges they're facing, and what benefits they've gained. These insights can not only help improve the system, but also offer a valuable glimpse into the overall health and morale of the team. What about those who have been with the company for a while? They can benefit from a buddy system as well. Whether it's a change in job roles, team structures, or simply a desire to meet new people within the organization, having a buddy can make these transitions smoother and less isolating. The buddy system isn't just good for the employees, it's also a benefit for the company as a whole. When employees feel supported and engaged, they're more likely to be productive and committed to their jobs. Moreover, the system can serve as an informal feedback loop, alerting the company to issues before they become problems, be it gaps in the onboarding process, lack of clarity in job roles, or most importantly, feelings of isolation among the staff. Critics might argue that a buddy system can lead to dependency, but that's a risk worth taking. The aim here is not to create a permanent crutch, but to offer a supportive framework that helps employees become more confident, more engaged, and consequently more independent. A well-implemented buddy system should eventually make itself redundant as employees grow into their roles and become part of the larger community within the company. In summary, combating the isolation that can come with remote work is a multifaceted challenge that calls for creative solutions. Implementing a buddy system can be a step in the right direction. It's a simple yet effective way to foster relationships, enhance job satisfaction, and ultimately create a more cohesive and happy team. Because at the end of the day, everyone needs a buddy, especially when navigating the often solitary waters of remote work. Chapter 12. Remote Employee Recognition and Rewards. When working in an office, it's easy to recognize small wins and big milestones. A pat on the back, a round of applause during a team meeting, or even an Employee of the Month certificate on the wall. They all serve to make people feel appreciated. But what happens when everyone is working from home and these simple yet impactful forms of recognition aren't readily available? Turns out, acknowledging achievements in a remote work environment is not just a nice-to-have, but a must-have. Think about this. Recognition is like the fuel that keeps a car running. Without it, the journey becomes a lot harder, if not impossible. It provides the much-needed emotional boost to keep going, especially during tough times. And let's face it, remote work can be a lonely road to travel, where one can easily feel disconnected from the team and undervalued for the contributions made. Therefore, recognizing and rewarding remote employees is crucial to keep the wheels of motivation and job satisfaction turning. Firstly, why does recognition matter so much? Well, it serves multiple purposes. It affirms that the hard work is noticed and valued, boosting self-esteem. It provides a sense of accomplishment, making the tasks feel worthwhile. And it enhances engagement, reinforcing the connection to the team and the broader organization. Simply put, recognition makes people feel good about themselves and their work, increasing their willingness to go that extra mile. The good news, is that recognizing remote employees doesn't require a total overhaul of existing systems. It just needs a little tweaking to adapt to the remote work context. Start by making it regular and timely. Don't wait for quarterly reviews to give praise. Do it as soon as a job well done is noticed. A prompt message of appreciation can do wonders for someone who might be having a hard day or feeling particularly isolated. However, not all recognition has to come from the top. Peer-to-peer recognition can be equally, if not more, impactful. Create spaces in team chats or community platforms where team members can give shout-outs to each other. Highlighting achievements in a public forum not only elevates the person being recognized, but also sets a positive example for the whole team to follow. That said, words of praise should be accompanied by actions that reflect the recognition. An e-gift card, a day off, or even a small bonus can go a long way. If financial rewards are not feasible, consider other meaningful ways to make employees feel special. For example, offer them the opportunity to lead a project they're passionate about, or give them time during meetings to share their expertise on a subject. Yet, while rewards are valuable, the key is to make them appropriate to the achievement. Grand gestures for minor accomplishments might seem over the top, while a simple "good job" for a project that took months to complete could feel underwhelming. The goal is to find that sweet spot where the recognition feels authentic and matches the level of effort and skill put into the work. Now, a word of caution. Not everyone likes to be recognized in the same way. Some might relish public praise, while others might find it embarrassing. Some might appreciate a tangible gift, while others might value an experience or a learning opportunity more. Thus, it's crucial to tailor the recognition to individual preferences, which can be discovered through direct conversations or anonymous surveys. Companies should also use technology to their advantage in these scenarios. Utilize apps and platforms that facilitate recognition and rewards. Some tools even allow team members to accumulate points for their accomplishments, which can later be redeemed for rewards. It's a fun and interactive way to make the process more dynamic and engaging. To wrap up, in a remote work setting, out of sight should not mean out of mind. Every contribution is like a building block that helps the company grow. Ignoring or downplaying these contributions can weaken the structure over time, making it less stable and less resilient. Recognizing and rewarding them, on the other hand, can strengthen it, creating a supportive and motivating environment where everyone feels like a valued member of the team. So, make recognition a habit, not an afterthought. Your remote employees and your company will be better for it. Chapter 13. Self-care strategies for remote workers. In a world where the office is just a short walk from the bedroom, it's easier than ever to blur the lines between work and personal life. Yes, remote work comes with a lot of perks, like ditching the daily commute or working in pajamas. But it also comes with its own set of challenges, especially when it comes to self-care. Burnout, stress, and a sense of isolation can sneak up when least expected. But here's the kicker. Self-care isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Ignore it, and it won't just be the work that suffers, but also overall well-being. So why not begin by setting clear boundaries? Imagine a fence that separates work from everything else. When working, be all in. But once the workday is over, step outside that fence and let work-related thoughts and worries stay behind. Make it clear to family and friends when not to disturb, but also respect personal time by logging off when the workday is done. Easier said than done, sure, but it's the first step in carving out space for self-care. When creating this work-life fence, it's also helpful to have a dedicated workspace. A spot that's used just for work, even if it's a corner of a room, helps create a mental zone where it's easier to focus. But as soon as work is done, leave that zone and physically move to a different area to unwind and relax. Another tip, take breaks. And no, scrolling through social media doesn't count. Take real breaks that refresh both the body and the mind. Step outside for a walk, read a few pages of a book, or even do a quick workout. These breaks act like little islands of calm in the middle of a busy workday. They offer a chance to recharge, so the afternoon isn't just a slog through a fog of fatigue. And while on the topic of fatigue, don't underestimate the power of a good night's sleep. It's the ultimate reset button. Lack of sleep makes everything seem worse. Stress feels unmanageable, tasks appear insurmountable, and even small issues start looking like big problems. Aim for at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. Make it a non-negotiable part of the daily routine. Nutrition is another crucial element of self-care. It's easy to raid the fridge or snack cabinet when working from home, but these quick fixes can lead to energy crashes later. So why not plan meals like work tasks? Stick to a schedule and opt for foods that offer sustained energy. Think fruits, veggies, lean proteins, and whole grains. They're the real MVPs when it comes to maintaining energy and focus throughout the day. But self-care isn't just about the body, it's also about the mind. Mental health is just as important as physical health, especially when working remotely, where feelings of isolation can creep in. So why not make time for activities that feed the soul? It could be anything from painting to playing a musical instrument to gardening. The goal is to engage in something that brings joy and takes the mind off work for a while. Let's also talk about connecting with others. Loneliness can be a silent side effect of remote work. That's why it's crucial to maintain connections, even if they're virtual. Pick up the phone and call a friend, or have a video chat with family members. Even brief interactions can break the cycle of loneliness and provide a much-needed emotional lift. Lastly, for those days when stress and anxiety refuse to go away, consider talking to a professional. Online counseling services have made it easier than ever to seek help without leaving home. Don't view it as a sign of weakness. Instead, think of it as adding another tool to the self-care toolkit. In summary, self-care is the invisible thread that holds the fabric of remote work together. Without it, things start to unravel. Stress builds up, productivity drops, and overall well-being takes a hit. But with a thoughtful approach to self-care, it's entirely possible to thrive in a remote work environment. So make it a priority, because the best project anyone will ever work on is themselves. Chapter 14. The Power of Routine in a Remote Work Environment. When working from home, the days can blur into each other, making it difficult to distinguish between work and personal life. Time seems to lose meaning, creating a never-ending cycle of tasks, chores, and deadlines. But here's the thing, there's a way to break free from this cycle and regain control of the workday. It's called routine, and it's more powerful than it might seem. Think of routine as the invisible roadmap of the day. Imagine driving to a new destination without any directions. You might get lost, take longer to reach your destination, or simply give up and go back home. A routine provides those essential directions, making sure that the workday starts, progresses, and ends on a high note. The first step in building a routine is setting up a morning ritual. It's easy to roll out of bed and jump straight into work, especially when the office is just a few steps away from the bedroom. But don't underestimate the importance of a good start. Whether it's a cup of coffee, a quick workout, or a few moments of meditation, taking the time to ease into the day can set a positive tone. It acts as a mental warm-up, preparing the mind for the challenges that lie ahead. The next part of the routine involves organizing the workday. Divide the day into blocks of time dedicated to different tasks. For instance, reserve the first couple of hours for focused work, like writing or problem solving. Save the late mornings for meetings and collaborative efforts. In the afternoon, work on less intense tasks that don't require a high level of concentration. Knowing what to do and when to do it creates a sense of control and eliminates the stress of constant decision-making. But don't forget to include breaks in the routine. Schedule short breaks during the workday to rest and recharge. Whether it's a quick walk around the block, a few minutes of stretching, or even a short power nap, breaks can work wonders for productivity and focus. They act like little pit stops, allowing for a brief moment of rest before getting back on the road. When it comes to routine, it's also crucial to set boundaries around work hours. Create a hard stop time when the workday officially ends. This sends a clear message to the mind that it's time to unwind and focus on personal activities. Just like a morning ritual, an evening ritual can help transition from work to personal life. It could be as simple as shutting down the computer, going for an evening walk, or preparing dinner. Whatever it is, make sure it signals the end of the workday and the beginning of personal time. Of course, a routine isn't set in stone. Life happens and sometimes adjustments are necessary. But even if the routine changes, having one in place offers a sense of stability and control. It's like having a safety net that catches those moments of chaos and uncertainty. Remember, though, that a routine is not just about work. It should also include time for self-care, hobbies, and social interactions. These are the activities that keep life balanced and enriching. So go ahead and pencil in time for a workout, a hobby, or even a virtual catch-up with friends. Make these activities as non-negotiable as work tasks, because at the end of the day, life isn't just about work. It's about creating a fulfilling and balanced existence. But why stop at daily routines? Extend it to a weekly routine too. Dedicate specific days for specific tasks, like house chores, grocery shopping, or family activities. Having a weekly routine adds another layer of structure, ensuring that even the days off are productive and fulfilling. In a remote work environment, it's easy to lose sight of time and priorities, but with a well-placed routine, that sense of aimlessness can turn into a sense of purpose. It can turn chaotic days into structured, productive ones. More importantly, it can transform the way work is approached, making it less of a chore and more of a fulfilling activity. So don't underestimate the power of a good routine. Embrace it, refine it, and watch how it changes not just the workday, but also the overall quality of life. Because, believe it or not, the key to a successful remote work experience lies in the simple, yet powerful act of following a routine. Chapter 15. The Importance of Work-Life Balance in Remote Work. Work-life balance might seem like one of those buzzwords that's thrown around a lot but never truly understood. However, in a remote work environment, understanding and implementing this concept becomes critical. Think of work-life balance as a seesaw. On one side, there's work, the deadlines, the meetings, the endless list of tasks. On the other side, there's life, family, friends, hobbies, and everything else that makes life enjoyable. The trick is to keep that seesaw as balanced as possible. Let's start with the most obvious problem: overwork. When the home becomes the office, the lines between work time and personal time can get blurry. It's easy to extend work hours, skip breaks, or even work on weekends. There's always that temptation to finish just one more task or respond to just one more email. But here's the thing: overwork doesn't lead to more productivity. Instead, it leads to burnout, which harms not just job performance, but also personal well-being. Setting clear boundaries is the first step in preventing overwork. Define a specific start and end time for the workday and stick to it. When work hours are over, shut down the computer, turn off work notifications on the phone, and step away from the workspace. Create a physical and mental separation between work and personal life to make sure one doesn't bleed into the other. Taking regular breaks during the workday is another key aspect of setting boundaries. Imagine running a marathon without any water breaks. Not a pretty picture, right? Just like the body needs rest in a marathon, the mind needs rest during a workday. Use breaks to step away from the computer, stretch, get some fresh air, or do something enjoyable. These small pauses act as mental refreshers that boost productivity and reduce stress. Now, let's move on to the other side of the seesaw: personal life. A balanced life isn't just about not overworking. It's also about making time for activities that bring joy, relaxation, and a sense of achievement. Whether it's spending time with family, exercising, pursuing a hobby, or simply doing nothing, these activities are essential for mental and emotional well-being. Social connections play a crucial role in maintaining a balanced life. While it's easy to neglect social interactions in a remote work setting, they are vital for happiness and mental health. Schedule regular virtual hangouts with friends and family. Plan online game nights, movie nights, or simply a good old-fashioned chat session. These social interactions act as emotional support systems that help navigate the ups and downs of both work and life. Physical well-being is another aspect that shouldn't be ignored. Incorporate some form of physical activity into the daily routine. Exercise releases endorphins, the body's natural mood lifters. It also helps focus better, sleep better, and feel better overall. So don't forget to set aside time for a quick workout, a yoga session, or even a simple walk. The topic of work-life balance also brings up the issue of flexibility. One of the biggest advantages of remote work is the flexibility it offers. Use this flexibility wisely. If the job allows, tailor the work hours to suit individual needs and responsibilities. For example, parents might prefer working early in the morning or late at night to be available for their children during the day. The key is to find a schedule that aligns with both work demands and personal needs. Maintaining a work-life balance also means knowing when to seek help. If the work pressure becomes too much to handle, don't hesitate to talk to a manager or a human resources representative. Companies increasingly recognize the importance of employee well-being and offer various resources like mental health support, stress management workshops, and flexible work arrangements. Use these resources to create a better balance between work and life. In conclusion, work-life balance isn't a luxury. It's a necessity, especially in a remote work setting. It's about setting clear boundaries to prevent work from taking over life and making conscious efforts to include activities that enrich life. It's a continuous process that requires regular adjustments and checks, but the benefits, better work performance, higher job satisfaction, and a happier, healthier life, are well worth the effort. So take charge, set those boundaries, and find that perfect balance, because life is too short to be spent just working. Chapter 16. Engaging in outside activities, hobbies, exercise, socialization. When the workday ends, especially one spent isolated at a computer, a sense of emptiness can set in. The usual comforts, coworkers, shared laughs, even the small interactions like a smile or a quick chit-chat aren't there. As the silence deepens, it can start to feel like a small weight settling on the chest. This is loneliness, and it can't be solved by another Zoom meeting or Slack message. It's not a job for the work you, but for the rest of life you. And this is where outside activities like hobbies, exercise, and socialization come into play. Picture this: closing the laptop, stepping outside, and taking a deep breath of fresh air. It sounds simple, but its effects are powerful. Physical activity, even if it's just a 20-minute walk, can change the brain's mood. Exercise releases endorphins, often termed the feel-good hormones. They lower stress and improve mood. Plus, exercise has long-term benefits like better sleep and increased energy that can make each workday feel more manageable. So put on those sneakers, head to a nearby park, or even just walk around the block. The investment in time is worth the returns in well-being. Next, consider the power of a hobby. In the daily grind, often the first thing that gets sacrificed is personal time for creative or enjoyable activities. A hobby can be more than just a way to pass time. It's a way to engage the mind in something other than work. Whether it's painting, cooking, playing a musical instrument, or gardening, hobbies provide a much-needed mental break. They are activities done for the sheer joy they bring, no deadlines attached. That's their magic. They offer an escape, a place for the mind to wander and explore without the pressures of productivity or performance. This mental freedom can unlock new levels of creativity and problem-solving skills that even benefit work life. But wait, there's more. Hobbies also offer a chance to enter communities of like-minded individuals. For instance, joining an online forum about photography or being part of a local gardening club can introduce new social circles. In times when work doesn't offer social interaction, these communities can fill the void. They offer connections, advice, and a shared sense of purpose or enjoyment. Plus, these social connections can help buffer against the negative effects of stress. Let's not forget the importance of direct socialization. Yes, actual face-to-face, or in some cases screen-to-screen, interactions. Keeping up with friends and family provides emotional support and a sense of belonging that are crucial for mental health. It's easy to let social activities slide when juggling work and personal responsibilities. But these moments of connection, even if they're just a quick coffee catch up or a video call, can have a lasting positive impact on emotional well being. Think about planning regular social events, either in person or virtually, to maintain these important connections. Make them as important as any work meeting on the calendar. There's another aspect to consider: volunteering. It may sound counterintuitive to add another commitment to an already busy schedule, but the benefits of volunteering are manifold. Helping others has been shown to improve mental health by boosting self-esteem and happiness levels. Moreover, it can offer a renewed sense of purpose and perspective that may be missing in daily work. Many virtual volunteering opportunities are available, making it easier to find a cause that aligns with individual values and time commitments. So, what's the takeaway? Balance isn't just about not working, it's about actively engaging in life. Don't underestimate the power of these outside activities. They may seem unrelated to work, but in reality, they're tightly interlinked with overall well being and, by extension, work performance and satisfaction. They counteract loneliness, improve mental health, and even enhance productivity. In a remote work environment where the line between work and life can blur easily, they help redraw that line, making sure that work doesn't become all-consuming. In the end, remember this: work is just one part of life. Don't let it become life itself. Close that laptop, put on those running shoes, pick up that paintbrush, call up a friend. Do whatever brings joy and connection. These are not distractions, but foundations on which to build a happier, healthier, more balanced life. So go ahead, make that investment in outside activities. The rewards will be richer than imagined, spanning both professional and personal worlds. Chapter 17. Leveraging Technology for Emotional Well-Being. In a world swamped with technology, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. The notifications, the endless emails, and the constant updates can sometimes feel like too much. But what if the same gadgets and gizmos that are often blamed for rising stress levels could be flipped into tools for well-being? Yes, technology can be a double-edged sword, but with the right approach, it can become an ally in the fight against loneliness and a tool to boost emotional health. Consider this: smartphones already come loaded with apps to check weather, manage finances, or even order dinner with just a few taps. Why not use them for something that truly enriches life? There are a multitude of apps designed to improve mental health. Mindfulness apps, for instance, offer guided sessions to help practice being in the present moment. These apps teach breathing techniques, provide calming sounds, and guide through quick meditation sessions. They are the pocket therapists that are there whenever needed, whether it's before a stressful meeting or after a long day. Now, what about the endless scrolling on social media that often feels like a waste of time? Turn it into an opportunity to connect. Social networking platforms are more than just stages to flaunt perfectly curated lives. They can be spaces to share genuine emotions, seek support, and offer encouragement. Imagine posting not just the highs, but also the lows, and finding a community that resonates. It's not about seeking validation, but about building a supportive network that stands together in good times and bad. Of course, it's not just about socializing through typed words and emojis. Video calling apps bring the magic of face-to-face interactions right to the screen. There's a reason why a video call feels more fulfilling than a text or voice chat. Seeing facial expressions, understanding nuances, and reading body language contribute to richer, more meaningful conversations. These can be especially vital when the face-to-face interaction options are limited. Regularly schedule these calls like any other important event. Mark them in the calendar, make a cozy setting, and enjoy a cup of coffee while chatting away. On the other side of the spectrum, there are moments when it's crucial to unplug and step away from all forms of communication. This is where screen time monitoring tools come into play. They track the amount of time spent on different apps and offer insights into usage patterns. Use this data to set daily limits for apps that are notorious time sinks or emotional drains. Imagine reclaiming that time and spending it on activities that bring joy and relaxation. It's like finding pockets of free time that were getting lost in the digital maze. For those who want to get more scientific about tracking emotional well-being, wearables can be a game changer. These smart devices go beyond counting steps or monitoring sleep. Advanced features in some wearables can monitor stress levels by tracking data points like heart rate variability. When stress levels spike, they can send reminders to take a breather or suggest quick exercises to calm down. Now, that's technology truly working for the betterment of life. But what about a platform that combines social interaction and well-being? Virtual worlds and gaming environments aren't just for entertainment. They offer a form of escapism where one can interact with people from around the world, undertake challenges, and experience a sense of accomplishment. All these factors can significantly reduce feelings of isolation and increase emotional well-being. In summary, technology is not the villain it's often portrayed to be. It's a tool, and like any tool, its impact depends on how it's used. With the right set of apps and a mindful approach to usage, smartphones, computers, and even wearables can become powerful allies in enhancing emotional health. They can provide the resources to combat stress, build connections, and even carve out time for self-care. The key is to be intentional in how to engage with technology. Make it serve not as a distraction, but as a conduit to a more emotionally balanced life. And in doing so, discover that technology can, in fact, make life not just more convenient, but also more fulfilling. Chapter 18: Preparing for the Hybrid Work Model. In the ever-changing landscape of work, the hybrid model has emerged as a sort of best-of-both-worlds scenario. It combines the comfort and flexibility of remote work with the social and collaborative aspects of being in the office. But let's not kid ourselves. Shifting to a hybrid model is not just flipping a switch. It involves strategic planning, understanding the dynamics of team cohesion, and putting measures in place to ensure emotional well-being for everyone involved. Firstly, let's tackle the big concern everyone has: how to maintain team cohesion when some people are in the office and some are not. A solution to this dilemma is the implementation of fixed in-office days where everyone is present at the same time. These days can be dedicated to team meetings, brainstorming sessions, or collaborative projects that benefit from immediate feedback. On these days, make the most of face-to-face interactions, clear any bottlenecks that need real-time discussion, and maybe even engage in some social activities after work. However, it's not just about designating specific days for in-person work, it's about making those days count. Pre-planning is crucial. Before the designated day, ensure that agendas are set, required materials are prepared, and objectives are clear. Without this, the precious time spent together in the office can become another series of unplanned meetings and missed opportunities for true teamwork. Now, let's focus on the remote part of the hybrid model. One might think that, having experienced remote work, this would be the easy part. That's not necessarily the case. When some team members are in the office, there's a real danger of out of sight, out of mind for those working remotely. To counter this, create a culture of regular check-ins. Utilize digital platforms to their full extent by setting reminders for team updates, one-on-one catch-ups, or even just a quick message to ask how things are going. These small interactions can go a long way when making remote team members feel involved and valued. Consider also the emotional well-being of employees. A hybrid model offers the flexibility to work in a preferred environment, but it also brings the challenge of toggling between two different work modes. It's easy for stress levels to rise with the constant switch. Therefore, incorporate stress management into the hybrid model. Maybe offer flexible hours on remote days for employees to engage in activities that recharge them, whether it's a morning jog or an afternoon hobby session. Encourage employees to set up a dedicated workspace at home, similar to their office space, to mentally prepare for a workday, regardless of the location. Also, don't underestimate the power of technology in this transition. Use project management software to keep everyone on the same page. Use a digital whiteboard for brainstorming sessions that remote workers can also contribute to. There are even virtual office platforms where remote workers can walk around a digital office, knock on colleagues' doors for a chat, or sit in a meeting room for a discussion. These can simulate the office experience and reduce feelings of isolation among remote workers. Lastly, take into consideration the unique needs and preferences of each employee. Some might thrive in a quiet home environment and prefer more remote days. Others might miss the buzz of the office and opt for more in-office days. While it's impossible to cater to everyone's individual needs, offering a range of options can go a long way in ensuring that most team members find a balance that works for them. Perhaps allow employees to choose the number of days they want to work remotely within a given range. This not only provides flexibility, but also gives them a sense of control, which can be empowering and contribute to their overall well-being. So, there it is. The hybrid model is not just a trend. It's fast becoming the future of work. But it's not without its challenges. Team cohesion and emotional well-being are at stake, and to maintain them requires thoughtful planning, effective communication, and a dash of empathy. By addressing these factors head-on and making smart use of technology, transitioning to a hybrid work model can be not just smooth, but also highly rewarding for everyone involved. With the right steps, there's every reason to believe that this blend of remote and in-person work can provide a fulfilling, balanced work life. Chapter 19. Case Studies, Companies That Got It Right. Sometimes the best way to grasp how something works is to look at real-life examples of success. Companies across industries are wrestling with the challenges of remote work and loneliness, yet some have managed to not just cope, but thrive. These organizations have tapped into innovative strategies that foster community, battle isolation, and promote emotional well-being among their remote workforce. Let's delve into a few such cases to understand how they did it. Consider Company A, a tech firm with a global workforce. When they switched to remote work, they realized that simply moving meetings to video calls wasn't enough to maintain team cohesion. So they came up with virtual coffee breaks. Every week, employees would get matched with different coworkers for a 15-minute, non-work related chat. Topics ranged from favorite books to weekend plans. This seemingly simple practice created a ripple effect. Not only did it reduce feelings of isolation, but it also increased cross-team collaboration. People who had never spoken before were suddenly familiar with each other and more likely to reach out for project help or advice. Now, let's talk about Company B, a customer service business. They took a different approach. Understanding that remote work blurs the line between professional and personal lives, they set up Family Fridays. On these days, employees were encouraged to share photos of their families, pets, or anything personal during team meetings. This helped coworkers see the lives of their teammates beyond the confines of work tasks and deadlines. Not just that, but Company B also set aside time during meetings for team members to share personal victories, whether it was a child's achievement or a new hobby picked up. The result? A more empathetic workplace and a more cohesive team. Another intriguing case is Company C, an online retailer. They leaned heavily into technology to build community and combat loneliness. Utilizing augmented reality, they created a virtual office space, mimicking their physical office. Employees could log in, sit at their virtual desk, walk over to a coworker space for a chat, and even attend meetings in virtual conference rooms. This attempt at normalizing the remote work experience added a fun element to everyday tasks and made employees feel part of a community, even while sitting miles apart. This was not just a novel idea, it significantly reduced feelings of isolation among team members. Then there's Company D, a consultancy firm that faced a unique challenge. Their work often required deep concentration and focus, making it difficult for employees to engage in casual conversations during work hours. Recognizing that isolation can be a productivity killer, they instituted what they called silent meetings. During these video sessions, everyone would log in and work silently on their tasks while still being visible to each other. Although no one spoke, the mere presence of team members working together provided a sense of community and reduced the loneliness often associated with solitary work. Finally, let's highlight Company E, a healthcare startup. They found a different way to promote emotional well-being. Through an internal platform, they provided daily mental health tips, weekly stress management webinars, and even online group therapy sessions. This proactive approach did wonders for breaking the stigma around mental health and provided resources for team members to manage stress and emotional ups and downs. The message was clear. The company cared for its employees' mental well-being, not just their work output. Each of these companies took a different path, but reached the same destination: a healthier, more cohesive, and more engaged remote workforce. These aren't isolated incidents. They are blueprints for success. Strategies like these don't just tackle the issue of loneliness, they create an atmosphere of inclusivity, trust, and mutual respect. By observing these case studies, it becomes clear that fighting remote work loneliness is not an insurmountable challenge. With some thought, creativity, and a whole lot of empathy, it's completely possible to create a remote work environment where everyone feels connected, valued, and emotionally secure. So take a page from their book and see how it fits into the unique narrative of your company. The outcome could be more rewarding than you ever imagined. Chapter 20: The Future of Remote Work and Loneliness. As the dust settles on a world reshaped by massive changes, remote work stands tall as a long-term feature of modern life. Sure, the novelty of working in pajamas and attending Zoom meetings from the comfort of home has its charm, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Loneliness has emerged as a serious concern that can't be ignored. Companies have to look ahead and prepare for a future where remote work and the issues it brings, especially loneliness, are ever present. Think about it. As technology gets more advanced, jobs that used to need an office setting are rapidly moving online. The trend isn't just about small tasks that can be outsourced. Even roles that play a crucial part in decision-making and project execution are moving to virtual spaces. With companies eyeing reduced costs and employees enjoying more freedom, it's easy to forget that remote work can also be a breeding ground for isolation and disconnection. This calls for strategies that are not just effective today, but will remain relevant in the years to come. Consider the demographic changes that are coming up. Millennials and Gen Z are flooding into the workforce, bringing with them a comfort level with technology that older generations might not share. For them, the line between work and life is blurry, and their work often blends with their identities. These digital natives are more likely to be familiar with online community building, but ironically, can also be more susceptible to feelings of isolation and loneliness. Companies will need to find a balance that caters to diverse needs while not exacerbating the issue of loneliness. Then there's the question of the global talent pool. As the reach of remote work extends to include workers from different corners of the world, companies get access to a range of talents and skills that were previously unreachable. But bringing people from diverse cultures into a team also means that everyone doesn't necessarily share the same communication style or social expectations. The way people connect and share in one part of the world may not resonate in another. This cultural shift is something that needs proactive management to ensure that everyone feels included and nobody falls through the cracks. Technology is bound to play an increasingly significant role in fighting loneliness. Virtual reality, for instance, is expected to become more mainstream and accessible. Imagine virtual office spaces where you can walk up to a coworker's desk for a quick chat just like you would in a real office. While nothing can fully replace the nuance of face-to-face interaction, advancements in technology can offer more immersive experiences that can help combat feelings of loneliness to some extent. On the other side of the coin, there's also the risk of technology making it too easy to monitor employees, risking an invasion of privacy that can lead to stress and, in turn, intensify feelings of isolation. So, while technology can be part of the solution, it has to be implemented thoughtfully, keeping in mind the very human needs of the workforce. Health and well-being are slowly gaining the importance they deserve, not as luxuries or add-ons, but as essential elements of a company's strategy. While gyms and meditation rooms were the staples of physical office spaces, expect a future where virtual wellness programs become just as common. This could mean guided online fitness classes, meditation apps tailored for remote workers, or even virtual reality-based therapy sessions. What about the hybrid model that allows employees to work both remotely and in office? It's a middle ground approach that's gaining traction and looks to be a significant part of the future work landscape. For companies, this model presents an opportunity to combat loneliness by offering employees the social benefits of an office setting, while also giving them the flexibility of remote work. It's like having the best of both worlds, but it's not without challenges. The key lies in ensuring that the culture and the sense of community extend seamlessly from the physical office to the virtual workspace. The future will see a multi-pronged approach to combating loneliness in remote work. Expect a mix of technological solutions, HR policies, wellness programs, and perhaps even new roles focused solely on remote employee well-being. The issue is too complex to have a one-size-fits-all solution, but that's also what makes it an exciting challenge. With creativity, empathy, and a genuine commitment to employee well-being, there's no reason why the fight against loneliness can't be won. Don't underestimate the long-term effects that loneliness can have, not just on individual well-being, but also on productivity and, by extension, a company's success. It's a critical issue that requires immediate attention. So whether it's by adopting a buddy system, recognizing milestones, setting up virtual coffee breaks, or offering mental health support, make battling loneliness a priority now to build a happier, more productive future for everyone involved.